Right, aren't we happy? Because the IPL fixtures have been announced. RCB's captain has been announced. And of course, we will be getting one hell of a spin legend on board in this Monday Night Live later in the show. My name's Avni Shaikh, dressed in the RCB blue. We have the man who knows it all, Nikhil Popa, in the, of course, India blue. And that is, of course, just the Champions Trophy. A little bit of sprinkling there. Not to forget Akshay, who's wearing black, surprisingly, where RCB are playing. So I don't know if he's already preparing for the worst, but they've started the tournament well. We'll talk about the WPL as well. First and foremost, boys, how are your weekends? IPL again, just hogging all the headlines, Akshay. Start with you.
Yeah, for sure. IPL definitely did hog a bit of the limelight there, but not complaining. WPL has begun. It's something I've been looking forward to for a while now, and unfortunately, RCB and the tournament has been plagued by a lot of injuries. But still, I don't think we could have asked for a better start to the tournament. So the weekend's just been keeping track of all the WPL fixtures, the watch-alongs, and whatnot. So it's been great fun.
Okay, fair enough. Freaking awesome saying hello. Big Three saying hello, boys. And Masan Narayan saying no watch along for RCB. Obviously not, because we can't be cloning ourselves. So Monday means Monday Night Live. So that it is for all of you all. Good to great saying good evening to all of you all. A terrific crowd. Thank you so much for your appreciation. Remember, appreciate us hitting the like button. And of course, it helps with the algorithm as well. We wanted to do things differently on this Monday Night Live in terms of first talking about the Champions Trophy, but good old Graeme Swann is late, caught in traffic apparently in the M6 in the UK. So he said, 9:15, mate, are you all right with that? And I was like, yeah, I will be all right with that. So we'll start with the IPL indeed. And there's so much of news coming through. Vignesh Ram saying Hazelwood is a great miss for RCB is what I feel. Hello, by the way, randomly getting things on the pod. And Akshay, will start there. The IPL fixtures. RCB playing yet another opening fixture. And I don't know why. We might have not won titles, but people still want us in the opening fixture, don't they?
I mean, that goes without saying, right? Like at this point in time, I wouldn't mind going as far as to say RCB is the most popular franchise. As a fan, how does that make me feel? I don't know about it yet. But like even in Gujarat, in Vadodara, the game that's happening right now, the RCB cheers are deafening. So it is something we just have to live with, both as RCB fans and as fans of the tournament in general. So BCCI is just looking out for themselves कि सबसे ज़्यादा eyeballs किन team से मिलते तो उसी हिसाब से उन्होंने opening fixture decide किया. Something we've spoken about earlier as well. It was always going to be KKR CSK or KKR RCB. KKR RCB it is. So yeah, so be it. So not complaining. I just feel that it adds unnecessary attention and pressure to what should otherwise be a tournament opener. That's it. Nothing more, nothing less. But ठीक है, अभी जो है सो है.
Sorry, is it just me or is Akshay's network pretty choppy? Next, can you hear him all right?
Yeah, I mean, when you celebrate matches over trophies, this kind of stuff keeps happening, where you have to satisfy yourself by saying that, we are that important, that we are given this. You are given this because you don't do anything else. So, fair enough.
Well, I didn't say, like
banter
I
apart.
said, I don't agree with it, but he can Nikhil Bhai decided
Yeah,
has
and again,
decided
it is fair. I mean, it's hardly a matter that who plays openers more. Again, who plays opener more is also a term that we'll get into when we preview IPL. But I think KKR RCB is a good rivalry to begin with. Already feel that we will see a century in the very first game. It will be a 2008 repeat. I don't think it'll happen from the KKR side. I think RCB have that chance to return the favor. If it happens, we know when to clip it out.
Okay, super. I mean, like the optimism there from a CSK fan. Remember, we are reacting as well to this DC RCB watch along whenever we get the opportunity. If something mad happens, so we'll keep you gripped with that as well. But look, in case you guys are living under a rock and you haven't seen the news, these were the fixtures. At least bear with the font size, because I know if you guys are watching off your phone, it'll absolutely be hard for you all to read this. But essentially, go check it out on cricket.com. Go check it out on the IPL website as well in terms of what are those fixtures and who in particular are playing each other where. I mean, the permutation combinations are vast. And yeah, the mad opening bit is the opening weekend, right? Like El Clasico and, of course, SRHR, an afternoon game. Who's not going to like that? Remember, this has also been announced. This was announced way earlier, to be fair, but the knockouts and the final will, of course, be Hyderabad, and then, of course, Kolkata, which will be playing a host to that 25th May game. Right, next, let's start with you and look at CSK's fixtures really quickly then. And it's a tough start, wouldn't you say? MI and RCB, it's never easy. I know you'll say RCB free 2 points and all of that, but after last year, surely that's something to think about for CSK.
Do one game doesn't change anything, but take whatever suits the boat. What you have to remember is the venue is also that's very, very important. So again, not taking anything or anybody lightly here, but I think to me what strikes out very, very immediately is you are playing some really strong sides, at least on paper, at home first. And I think that is something that Chennai will have to really lock into, that if you're playing 4 of your first 7 home games in the first half, I think it will sort you up nicely uh, if you can get that winning combination going, because we've discussed this even in the preview that the way this team is set up, it is set up for spin to do the job. Now, if you're playing at home in terms of Chennai, Chepak doesn't turn, then I think the cat will be among the pigeons. So let's see how it works out. I think it is. I feel it's going to be a massive, massive season for Ruturaj Gaikwad. I think so much talk about him around him. This is the season for him to step up and stamp his legacy that no doubts about my captains or anything. I'm just here to stay. It's not like he will be dropped. Yeah, not like he will be dropped or anything. Just when you are as successful as a franchise as CSK are, your standards are very high. So you are expected to make it to the knockouts. Uske baad I'm okay with you not getting the win, but you are expected to get to the knockouts.
Yeah, because at CSK, they play RCB twice and MI twice, and they travel to Guwahati to play RR. They, of course, go to the Ekana as well. So a lot of traveling for them. But the good thing is that, see, MS Dhoni is going to be still there. So the flocking of CSK fans to the stadiums will still be in huge numbers. Akshay, let's discuss DC's fixtures next, because I just want to quickly waffle through each of these. And obviously, with KL there, Faf there, and this whole new look team, pardon the pun, and Khalil there because they're not part of the squad. But look, their fixtures look like this. Vizag, of course, playing host to 2 games. That's because of GMR and his industries. I think there he hails from there. So I think the Vizag move is there to play Delhi's games. How does it look for you, Akshay? And more importantly, we're playing them twice, RCB.
Yeah, we are. I mean, once again, as an RCB fan, not complaining about it. We do have a better head-to-head record. But about the schedule, though, not playing in Delhi for nearly the first month of the tournament, so to say, from the 21st of March to the 13th of April, that is a tad bit disappointing for the Delhi fans. But this makes me wonder कि अगर Vizag में खेलना ही था, तो then they probably could have also, had a leg, had a set of games of the WPL as well in Delhi. But anyways, that's probably a conversation for another day. All in all, in terms of how the schedule is looking, the fact that they will be playing, 3 games, the last 3 of their last 6 games will be at home in Delhi. That probably sets them up well. We all know how the latter half of the tournament, the business end of the tournament, is where it usually things start heating up. Every team is sort of, in it to win it and try to get the net run rate up and all of it. So the fact that they're going to be playing 3 of their last 6 games at home will probably keep them in good stead or better stead, so to say, compared to some of the other teams. They'll have more things in control. They'll know how to sort of, play at home much better than the away sides naturally. So that is maybe a slight, silver lining, so to say. But all in all, again, nothing to complain. Vizag's been a batter-friendly surface. Delhi also was extremely conducive to batting. They're also going to be playing in Mumbai and Bangalore. So that means what? 2 plus 7, 9 games already at batter-friendly surfaces. So all in all, that also would work in their favor. They might want to try and replicate last season's performances, especially with the bat. The way they really set the tone in the power play. Jake Fraser, Megok, Abhishek Purell, later on Rishabh Pant, Tristan Stubb. So they would want to try and repeat that. So the venues that they'll be playing at will definitely help them do that.
Okay, fair enough. Sports fan saying hi, guys. Let's do the watch along. You guys can do MNL later. Sorry, you don't take the calls, editorial calls at cricket.com, unfortunately. But I understand where you guys are coming from, because I know this is going to be the start of the WPL IPL season. You guys love watch alongs. We will get those and as many as we can for y'all. There is, of course, good to great saying, folks, let's dive straight into the Champions Trophy, which is priority now, I guess. In a bit, and with, of course, a legend in our company as well. He's going to be joining us around 9:15. So we will talk about IPL stuff and rest of the things. Before we talk about the Champions Trophy, we can ask him about how Adil Rashid's going to be sensational for England this time around. So anything that you guys have for Swann, you guys can key in your questions right now. But I want to just showcase all the teams and the fixtures first. So we're done with 2. We're going to GT because they have, of course, Ahmedabad as their first 2 games at home. And then they're on their travels a little bit. But again, Nick's coming to you here. How do teams just look at fixtures? Is it the travel and the logistical nightmares, or is it the dates and how often they're playing each other? Or again, is it how many home games they're having at the back end so they can finish pretty well in the table?
Yeah, I think it's a combination of factors. So you definitely want to look at travel at times because how far are you from the other venue and how quickly is the turnaround? Like if you see from 29 March to 2nd April, not bad. 20th April, 2nd May, not bad. Equally distant. But what I think is very, very important for some of the sides is if you're looking at playing a lot of games at home, it has to also come from the fact that you enjoy playing at home. When you have a stellar record at home, that's when I think it stands out really well. Because see, you may know the conditions, but you should also have the skills to be able to, make the most of it. So I certainly think there is a bit of the advantage that at least you know what to expect, and that I think goes a long way. That at least you know the conditions. You can get one match wrong, but you still have a chance to get it better in the coming months. For Ahmedabad, I think it is very handy because their bowling lineup is set up to use the longer boundary. You look at the type of bowlers that they have. They're all bowlers who like to bang it into the wicket or bowl a bit behind, not quite those foot length or those Yorker people. So I think very interesting times for Ahmedabad. Genuinely feel Gill missed out last year, and early call for him also to do a 2016 with what 2016 was for RCB. JT will do that with Gill this time around.
Oh, wow. Early calls indeed. Remember, you guys are all keying in your watch along comments, even though this is not watch along 62 for 3 DC, if you guys are listening to the MNL on Spotify. But look, we're talking about the IPL fixtures right now, and GT, some good points there, especially the fact that they have that bowling attack where, who knows, Ahmedabad could be spiced up in terms of the pitch. The 4 team in their fixtures, they, of course, feature in the first game of IPL 2025. I'm talking about 2024 champions KKR. And look, guys, it's plain and simple. I feel with their travel, again, it's spread about, but they have pretty much 4 games out of 5 in that middle chunk at home. So I think that could be amazing for them. 4 out of 6, rather, correction. So Akshay, coming to you, with Eden being itself, do you think they can extract the most from all their home games, which is what they did last year?
Yeah, they should be able to be honest. Again, what I'm looking forward to seeing is how does this KKR team sort of go about their business? What sort of a template will they be looking at setting? Because last year under GG, they were very clear in terms of the approach they wanted to have to each game. Pardon me, sorry. But this time around, again, we're not sure who the head coach is going to be. I don't know if it's going to be Chandrakant Pandit taking care of everything, backroom stuff. In terms of the backroom stuff, sorry. And also, we don't know who the skipper is going to be. And that 11 does not exude the same amount of confidence last year's 11 did. So there are a lot of, moving parts over here that still need to be settled for this KKR side to try and defend their title. So how does the schedule look like for them? Should they be able to replicate last year's approach? Or if that's what they're going for, if they're headed in the same direction, I see 7 games in Kolkata. Guwahati is also a battle-friendly surface. So is Bangalore. Hyderabad also, if it sticks to how it played last year, we know it'll be a great venue for batters. So would be Delhi. So that's 13 out of 14 games. Barring Chennai, every game they play will be on a surface that averaged 190, 200 last year. So given that, they would want to come up with that high-intent approach yet again. But do they have the resources for that? Only time will tell. So it is going to be very tricky for them because there have been a lot of personnel changes on field. Off the field also, we're not sure. Matlab Chandu Pandit ke alawa, if there's anyone going to be added to the staff. So yeah, it's very hard right now to say one way or the other, whether it's in their favor or against them.
Okay, fair. With KKR, and you never know who could captain them. People are saying Rahane, but that's just probably the posters. We know we could probably find a better captain. Who knows? KKR fans, we know in the pod. Um, LSG next, and they of course have the Ekana Stadium as their home ground, and they start actually pretty much in South India, Vizag, and then Hyderabad before they go up north and play their first game on the 1st of April against Punjab at home. And some would say that their first 3 games is actually winnable. Would you suggest that? Obviously, taking on SRH in their own backyard, we've seen it last year that they made that kind of a fortress. Next, how do you look at Lucknow's?
I think first Lucknow need to know how will the pitch play out, because eventually home or away will be decided if you know the home conditions. So Ekana has been very patchy and tacky at times. With the kind of lineup that they have, you expect them to have probably almost roads, if not roads, good batting surfaces where you get 165, 180 regularly. If that happens, I think then they will be far better placed, because as you said, the schedule is such that they could get caught up, right? You play DC, you play SRH at the home, which is scary. They had a shackling, so sort of from SRH when the last time these two sides met. So PBKS, MI, KKR, they're all batting heavy sides, and if they run into them at the wrong end, I think it could be really trouble. But we don't know. I mean, the conditions are to me the paramount, and Lucknow is also a team which I feel will be a complete Jai Mata Di team. They will either end up with the top 2 or they will be in the bottom 2. I don't think there's going to be middle ground with that team. Oh, nice. We have the ritual done. Well done. Well done.
Damn it.
Good
Let's
start.
see how Justin Langer copes with Rishabh Pant. Remember, Pant plays his first game against Delhi, which will be fascinating. And that's a fascinating subplot as well. MI then, and a lot of MI fans in the chat. So all you guys quickly press like and get in your questions. Are you happy with it? Because this is apparently the rockiest of roads in IPL 2025 for any team, Akshay. We've seen it in the broadcasters and what they were kind of dishing out. If you look at Mumbai's fixtures, I mean, Chennai, Ahmedabad, Mumbai, Lucknow, Mumbai, Delhi, Mumbai. So it's almost home away, home away, home away. It's like their fixtures are laughing at them. Ha 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 ha. If you guys get that joke. But to start off their campaign without Hardik Pandya at Chennai is a tough ask.
Yeah, surely it's going to be a tough ask, and I've actually been wondering. So, will we see Rohit Sharma leading the MI side, at Chepauk come the 23rd of March? So that'll also be interesting today. I mean, not today, of course, come the IPL. Secondly, in terms of how the schedule is looking like, it is interesting, right? It's not often we see someone have an alternate home and away fixture going about throughout the season. There's not a single point in time where they will be playing consecutive away games or consecutive home games. So that will be interesting to see how does that affect their performances. And in terms of how the schedule is looking, of course, if you look at the first 3 games, playing Chennai in Chennai, we know what sort of fortress Chennai have managed to build. Oh, that was almost a catch. Apologies. Guys, I'm watching the game, of course, so pardon me in case I tend to be tilting a bit too much 30 degrees to the left side. That's only because my iPad is there and I'm watching the game. But yeah, coming back, of course, to the schedule, playing Chennai in Chennai won't be easy. And playing this Gujarat Titans setup in Ahmedabad also won't be easy. We know what sort of a bowling attack they've come up with this time around. There's Rabada, there's Siraj, there's Shami, and I'm pretty sure I'm forgetting at least 2 more hit-the-deck fast bowlers. If Ahmedabad manages to come up with one of those spicy surfaces yet again, then it'll be really difficult for the MI setup. And then they finally come back home to play KKR, the defending champions KKR. So it's not going to be easy. The first 3 games alone will sort of set the tone for them. Mumbai have historically been extremely poor starters. They have that record of not having won their first game in the tournament since 2012. So I don't think it's going to be any more easier. I mean, I don't think it's going to be any more easy given that they will be playing Chennai first up in Chennai.
Nice. While Avnish finds out his mute button is working or not. I think the thing that with MI for RCB and other teams is they play a lot of homes at the back end. I think that is something that Mumbai will really look after, because we've seen that time and time again that Mumbai are a side that they build the side for Wankhede. So Very interested to see if at all they do have a false start, how do they recover and play well at home then.
Yeah, the thing is, they play, of course, Chennai first, but I think they play only RCB once this season. So it'll be interesting to see how they go in that game, 7th April, if you guys are wondering about the date. Punjab, and they, of course, have Mulanpur as their home ground, but they start away to Gujarat in Ahmedabad, and then, of course, Lucknow as well before they play RR at home. They also have some games in Dharamshala to the fag end of their campaign. LSG, DC, and MI travel there to the mountains, so that'll be fantastic. And they finish off away to Jaipur. Again, looking at Punjab with their re-bolstered squad, Akshay, how much is home advantage going to be playing for them? Because Mulanpur, what we made out last time, was pretty much a 160, 170 average sort of deck. And with Shreyas Iyer captain there, how is it going to go, in your opinion?
I mean, I was in the minority post IPL. When it came to Punjab Kings, I did think they had managed to construct a more than decent squad. It will be interesting also because a lot of the players are in form. The likes of Max will come to mind, the likes of Swanny, Shreyas Iyer himself. Prabhsimran Singh hasn't been too bad at the domestic level. So it is a fairly solid 11 that they will be fielding, that Ricky Ponting will be fielding in Chandigarh. Given how that team is and given how the bowling attack is, I think they will enjoy themselves here, at their home venue. Probably what would work against them is the fact that they're going to be playing 3 games at Dharamshala, unlike before. We usually used to see teams play no more than 2 games in their secondary home venue, but for some reason Punjab this time have decided to play 3 games instead of the usual 2 in Dharamshala. We see that in the fag end of the tournament on the 4th May, 8th May, 11th May, it's going to be 3 consecutive fixtures. Technically, it is a home venue, but again, because they wouldn't have visited Dharamshala before the 4th of May, you're not entirely accustomed to how that venue is going to play. And there is another wicket. Apologies, guys. A 4th wicket for RCB there. Renuka Singh Thakur, fantastic performance from her. I have to say, I have to cut in between them.
Okay, fair. I mean, Punjab, let's see if they do make Dharamshala a winning ground this IPL. Next, talk to me about RR's fixtures, because they do go from Jaipur to play a couple of games in Guwahati. We've seen that before. And they start off in Hyderabad, that afternoon fixture against SRH, then playing those Guwahati games, like I mentioned before, going back to Jaipur, which is kind of later in mid-tournament. You would suggest Jaipur, first game being RCB there. So I think they don't technically play home for the first 5 games. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, and again, they're also lined up like Mumbai, like MI to feel that way, that SRH, KKR, and CSK to start. Not quite sure how you would want to go about. How do you feel about it? Because then you have a couple of slippery slope games with Punjab and GT. So I think a very interesting first half for Rajasthan. And now I mentioned first half because we've often seen them really steamroll or have a start off really well in terms of the first half of the season. Usually they taper off. Maybe this is something that is what they needed. Play a lot more games at home at the back end so that you do not lose out on momentum. So that's how I look at it. I think the surfaces for the first 5 games should be really good to bat on. Guwahati has been a high scoring one, so is Hyderabad. You hope Chandigarh and Ahmedabad will still give you 175 kind of scores. So I think they should not mind it, but I think they'll be up against it, especially those first 5 games.
Okay, fine. 8 done, 2 to go, and this is the team that we want to talk about next, which is RCB and their fixtures. Because even if you look at some of their games, Akshay can probably back it up here. I feel they've been dealt a good hand. It's not too chaotic. I mean, when I first saw it, I thought, we're playing Punjab back-to-back games, whether those are straightforward points or straightforward defeats, I'm not sure. And then we finish with 2 games at home, which gives me a little optimism if we need to kind of catch up, so on and so forth. So how do you look at RCB's schedule for IPL 2025, Akshay?
Yeah, it's not going to be easy for sure. KKR have had the upper hand over RCB the last couple of years. They won the last 4 games against us. So in that sense, we're already starting off the back foot. On top of that, it's the tournament opener, so there's going to be all the attention and all of it around it. And then we play Chennai in Chennai again, a venue that we haven't really been able to do well or have any success since 2008. This goes on to show how difficult it's been for RCB over there. And they finally come on the 2nd of April to Bangalore, to the Chennai Stadium to play their first home game of the season. So the first couple of games, it's just going to be so difficult. We know how RCB in general has struggled against spin, has struggled to strike against spin the last couple of years. And Kolkata, there's Chakravarti, there's Narayan, Chennai, there's Noor Ahmed, there's Ashwin, there's Jadeja. So yeah, it's already giving me the jitters, to be honest. What's going in their favor is
Yeah, sorry, go on.
So just to close it out, what's going in their favor is the fact that they're going to be playing 3 of their last 4 games and 4 of their last 6 games at home at the Chennai Stadium. We know how RCB, sort of came back in the second half of the season. And if they want to do something like that, then they will. I can't believe my producers also decided to really throw me off guard. But yeah, that is going to work in their favor. Should they need a couple of games, if they need to inject some momentum in their sort of tourney, then that last few games going in their favor definitely will keep them in good stead. If I'm not wrong, last season also, in the last four games that we played, Delhi was at home, Gujarat was at home, Chennai was at home. So that actually worked in our favor. Had that not been the case, then I don't think we would have been able to come up with the run we did. So schedule definitely went in our favor then. I'm hoping it does go in our favor now as well.
Interesting. Speaking of RCB, the women's are, of course, absolutely all over Delhi Capitals right now. Akshay celebrating, producer celebrating, so it's clear where our loyalties lie. SRH finally then, next, just recap this schedule for everyone, in particular, team by team. The final team is Hyderabad, and they have a good cluster of fixtures, back-to-back home games, as you can notice straight away, which hits the eye, 6th of April, 12th of April. So they get that long break and they're at home, so they can recuperate and, of course, recharge their batteries over there. Then you look at even getting off to a flyer, potentially 2 quick games, 2 wins against RR and LSG at home. And then it does get a little tricky at the end with their 2 away games, but probably knowing this team, they would have already done the business. So, next, how do you look at this for SRH?
Yeah, I don't know why I feel this could be a season where Hyderabad really do the Rajasthan, where they really take off strongly, because you look at the games at home. RR, LSG, they have the batting might to overpower them. KKR should be a good game, but GT, BBKS again at home, you feel Hyderabad have the chance to really start off really, really well. So I could potentially see them winning 4 of the first 7 games straight away, and that could really give them a lot of advantage. Again, this is assuming they get their order right. We don't know if Pat is going to be whatever happens there in terms of fitness and participation, all of that. So I feel it is a good mixture. Their tougher games are all nicely sandwiched. KKR, they play KKR after 4 games, and then they play Mumbai home and away consecutively, which I think is a good thing to do. You play in Mumbai, then you go back to Hyderabad, sort it out between yourself, and you're done. Then you play CSK, slightly tougher side for them, but they still managed to do. They have got better of Chennai in the past as well. So I think they are well placed with good bunch of games distributed accordingly. So I don't think they'll mind this much.
Okay, cool. This is just a reminder of the whole schedule coming out, remember, and go check it out on cricket.com's carousel, on Instagram, so on and so forth. Right, the other big news this week, Akshay, rather last week, was Rajat Patidar being appointed as RCB's captain. Our boys Vikas and Akash were there to cover it and see it from the press conference perspective. But I called you up quickly and asked you what you made of it. You said it was the best choice possible. Now, in the cold light of day, how much do you actually agree with that decision, like it, and look forward to it?
See, when it comes to captaincy, I feel personally for me, I've been very clear that barring MS Dhoni and to some extent Roy Morgan, I don't think I've ever come across a captain who has been able to add value just by virtue of being a captain. And knowing this, and this is just my personal opinion. I'm not here to talk about other captains and their captaincy tenures and all of it. Knowing that, would it have made any sense to try and shop for a captain? I don't know. So I'm actually happy that RCB have gone ahead with this strategy, wherein they just sort of looked within and found someone who is a more than decent player. someone who is definitely going to feature for them 14 games in and out, come what may. So that's never going to be an issue. Rajat Patidar's position is never going to be questioned. He's also been a part of the setup for the last 3 years, so he's one of those talents that RCB have scouted. He's been very much with the side for a while now, so that also bodes well for them. So knowing all of this, I feel it's a decentish punt, yaar. And again, I don't think it'll be a case where Rajat Patidar is going to be calling the shots entirely. He's not the only person. It is going to be a leadership group of which Virat Kohli is still very much a big part of. So given that, again, so it's cool. Toss करने के लिए कोई चाहिए, someone who's calm, someone who can handle the pressure. वो कर लेगा यार. बाकी field placements के लिए he can always look up to Virat Kohli for advice. There's always going to be Mo Bobat in his ear, Andy Flood in his ear. वो तो हर किसी के साथ होने वाला था. Even if it's Faf du Plessis, there's not a lot. A lot of captaincy is about just ensuring कि तुम्हारी जो plan है उनको अच्छे से execute करो. That is going to be a big part also. That was anyway a horrible ball.
Man, this man is all over the place with RCB. And tipped over the bar by a short fine. Like, nonetheless, we shouldn't get distracted because the main chat here we're trying to have with RCB is the reaction to Rajat Patidar being captain, right? Initially, when the news broke, I'll be honest with you, I thought it was just overburdening someone who had a certain defined role as a spin basher last year, and he was doing his job. You look down that RCB squad and you don't find captain materials at all because, like Akshay mentioned, you need someone who would play 14 games. Now, Mo Bobat even said at that point in time that essentially they had a conversation with him during the last IPL saying, are you ready to be a captain next year? And then he, of course, went on to captain MP in the domestic T20 tournament. Let's take a look at the record there of what Rajat Patidar has done. So, records as captain in T20s. He's played 16, won 12, lost 4. So, he's not been as shambolic as people would have imagined, and still early days. So, of course, that captaincy record will change over time. What about the runs as a captain? So far in those 15 innings, he's striking well. He's averaging over 40 in the shortest format, and he has 550s to show. So, look, I mean, Patidar gives me a lot of confidence, but there are my apprehensions. The fact that I like this guy. That 112 that he scored against LSG for me made me think that he's a long run in the team. I didn't think he would get the captaincy this year, I'll be honest. I thought probably they would go down the sentimental route and got Virat in. It wasn't a B, maybe a logical call from Bobat, from Andy Flower. What I also feel is that I don't want this move to kind of burden the living daylights of Rajat Patidar, man. Like, he's a spin basher. He came in from ball 1, sometimes from ball 2, sometimes to just get going. Now I don't want it to just be playing in his head because we just need him to unearth the performances and maybe more from what he did last season. So for me, Rajat Patidar, look, only time will tell how good he is as a captain. Nix, do you feel like it's almost like the Gaikwad sort of equivalent for RCB right now, where Akshay mentioned there will be an invisible captain? You have Chennai there with Dhoni, and now you have Kohli there kind of just being vociferous, taking calls in the field, so on and so forth. So how do you look at this appointment? And as a CSK fan, are you quietly smiling?
No, I don't think I'm too perturbed in terms of captaincy, because as Akshay said, what you have to remember is most of the captaincy that we see today is executing plan A's. And it's very, very rare that you see enough captains having multiple plans, and they are seasoned international captains as well who've fallen short of that challenge. So I think it will be a very interesting challenge for Rajat. It's very interesting to take Gaikwad's name because if you look at their stories, not quite similar, but there is still a bit of irk that Rajat came in and then he couldn't play a season, and then he's played one knock which really took everybody by he's here, and now he's the captain. I think with Gaikwad also, I don't think anybody would have seen him becoming the captain as a natural successor to somebody like an MS. Again, different body of work. So it's not that you're comparing these people. So I think he will find his own way. Like as you said, I have my own doubts whether it will bring out the best out of him or not, because see, captaining your state side, far different from captaining a franchise in IPL. The pressure is multifold, and we've seen the best struggle to get the best out of themselves first. So as you said, to me, the first thing that I'm looking out for is what does it do to him? What does it do to his captaincy? Because what I did not like at all about Gaikwad as the captain, as a batter, took too much on himself. We remember that one game against Punjab where he took 50 years to complete that chase. Eventually, we were knocked out by net run rate. So I think those are those small errors that you do not want to commit. And that is the pressure of captaincy. We've seen even KL go down that route, right? You take too much on yourself, and that is also not good for your side. So I think it's very interesting to see how they go about it. There is definitely a lot of support for him, but again, I'll sit on the fence that I don't think it'll be even after one season we'll be able to say okay, good captain, bad captain, because we'll never know. Like, most of it is going to be on the fly, and you have a great scouting team now. You have DK, Mohawk, and everybody around to help him. So I just hope he's led into it. And if somebody like a Virat and others can really take care of the batting, I think it will really ease him up into the system. Because if it say comes down to him scoring a lot of runs every game, I think it could go either ways. He could either emerge as a runaway leader, or he could feel the pressure that this is too much to take care of. But again, too early to take a call.
Yeah, hope he's not like a rabbit in front of the headlights. By the way, RCB got another wicket in terms of the women's against Delhi. Mauzan capped departs for 12, 105 for 6 DC. All troubles for them. Akshay, what that fist bump for? Good to great asking. Good to great also saying things in the comments, pointing out that we've not taken comments, which is a good point. The fact that we just wanted to get done with all that IPL stuff. Meanwhile, we'll take some IPL comments because there's still so much to kind of unlock with y'all. Don't think Patidar would be a puppet. Virat Kohli doesn't interfere with on-field decisions, saying sports fan. He may be part of leadership group outside. Folks, you had it.
Sorry.
Huh.
Sorry. Just to cut in there, sports fan, there are a couple of games where you could see Virat actually just captain and Faf not being involved as much. So I don't think, again, puppet, I feel is a very wrong word in a negative way. Virat doesn't have to interfere. He just has to help out Rajat. So I think let's take both the words in the right way. Rajat will not be a puppet also, but VK will also be very, very crucial, because we even saw that in the BJT. Why? You do not want VK to not interfere, if that's the word that you want to use. You will want him to come in and give his call, and then Rajat can take the final call. Like we said with Gaikwad and MS. You want those presence. You want those guys to be there. You're not saying you just go and ask them. No, but take their input and then you take a call.
Yeah, and I think RCB will also have various leaders across, because you look at Bhuvi, I think he'll come in there and spearhead that attack and generally just lend insight to the other young bowlers. Rasikdar might be a starter all game. So Bhuvi will be integral in terms of the leadership of the bowling group. Vignesh Ram saying VK will always be involved involuntarily, and that's great for any side that VK is part of, to be very fair. Folks, you handed Rajat captaincy, so just give him space and time for him to gel well with the team. Producer, please post this one. Absolutely. Producer, also make a poll, because there are tons of RCB fans watching this right now, and let's just ask them, are you happy with Rajat Patidar as RCB captain? Yes or no? Tell me right now. I know there's many people who are watching this right now who are RCB fans. In fact, the comments coming through from Introspect, who says this, Akshay, RCB looked dumbfounded. They had no idea Virat will reject captaincy at the last moment. If this is true, then probably RCB had messed up the auction to some extent. Where do you sit on this?
Yeah, to be honest, fair. I mean, that could have been the actual series of events or sequence of events where they probably were banking on the fact that they will be able to convince Virat Kohli. We don't know if that was the case or not, but there is a lot of merit in that argument as well, because mere ko bhi wahi tha ki, in all likelihood, given that there doesn't seem to be a runaway leader emerging from the set of players they've recruited at the auction, so in all likelihood, Virat Kohli would be made captain. But again, you've just got to place faith in the management here, both as fans. I mean, not both, sorry, just as fans. That's all we can do. And like I said, I'm not someone who's very big on ki bhai, we need a leader to captain. Virat Kohli, captain ho na ho, wo farak nahi padta. He's always going to be the leader of the side. He's always going to be the side, shepherding the troops, ensuring there aren't drooping shoulders, ensuring the energy levels of the squad is being maintained and all of it. Wo sab Virat Kohli hi karta, and to be honest, that's what gets the best out of him. So Virat Kohli is not going to be doing that. Virat Kohli himself will not be performing well for us. We saw, when he wasn't in the greatest of form, he wasn't doing that just as keenly, because it doesn't come naturally to him. So in all fairness, it's cool. It's perfectly fine. And I'll once again reiterate कि captaincy से अब तक मैंने एक या दो लोगों को छोड़ दे तो किसी को भी मैंने देखा नहीं कैप्टनसी से गेम बदलते हुए. सो ठीक है, मतलब there's only so much plan. ये अच्छे से याद रख लेना कहाँ पे किसको कैसे बॉल देनी है, कौन से बॉल डलवाने, कहाँ पे किस फील्ड लगा, कौन सी फील्ड लगानी है. बस आप अपना बेसिक्स याद रखना. Just stay calm under pressure, which Rajat at least looks the part. He is someone similar to Ruturaj Gaikwad. He exudes calmness. He seems as someone who isn't very temperamental, who isn't very in your face. He's just calm, shant. So that is going in his favor. I think that also must have played a role. They must have liked the fact that this is a guy who doesn't really crumble under pressure. Look at his numbers in knockout games. People remember the 100 against Lucknow. The very next game against Rajasthan, he scored a 50. In the knockout game this time also against Chennai, he was he was the highest scorer, if I'm not wrong, or the second highest scorer. Even in the game against Rajasthan Royals in Ahmedabad, he was the highest scorer for RCB. So he's always been someone who's not crumbled under pressure. So ठीक है, those are attributes you would be looking for in your captain. And चलता है यार, मतलब as long as basics कर लेना तो काफी है. That itself is a very big box to tick.
Okay. Vignesh Ram saying, except Patidar, who will be the only great guy against playing spin for RCB? I mean, Livingston, I think, generally could probably tonk a few if he settles in, that is. There's another comment coming in from Good to Great saying, VK should help Rajat big time with his bat. Only that's the best thing he can do with the team is Rajat as well. True, I agree with that. RCB's weakness will be playing spin. They're below good, but not average and also not great, saying Vignesh Ram. And Yuvraja KB saying, what do you think of the rumor of Devil Brevis playing Bethel? I know it's fake. What's your thought on it? And if it happens, are you happy? I mean, Devil Brevis probably, I don't know, we were going to get him before Mumbai. If it happens, happens, but he doesn't offer you the bowling that Bethel does or the fielding. But I'm guessing Brevis, would you be happy with that? I wouldn't have Brevis even in my top 5 replacement substitutes, injury substitutes.
I'm not up for Devil Brevis right now. Talent hai, अच्छा SA20 tha unka and all of it, but we need someone who can start for us. And I don't think Devil Brevis is the person. I know from a content POV and from a story POV, you know, Baby AB, someone who's also been a fan of RCB as a kid. तो वो सब सुनने में अच्छा लगता है, कहानी अच्छी है, but that's where I draw the line.
Yeah, I think what is also important with the Brevis angle is it will spoil your entry point for everyone. It will spoil the entry point for Rajat, for Liam, for Jitesh also, because if you get a good start, you already have a natural number 4 in or number 3 that you think is ready for the job. Now, again, depending on whether you play Padikkal or not, you feel Brevis ko lane ke baad will eventually just complicate matters. So why do that? Rather just get an all-rounder and then play him accordingly.
Interesting. Keep your comments coming through and like this particular Monday Night Live, guys. Really, really want your thoughts right now. Giant J saying, would prefer Raza or Revis replacement, can battle over and bowl a few overs. Yeah, absolutely. Completely agree with you. Mohammad Aran saying, has Lungi's replacement been named? Rumors were going around that Gleeson would replace him. In my opinion, they should get Adil Rashid in. Names are floating about. Your guesses are as good as ours. I'd like the thought of Adil Rashid because I think we are going to speak about him with Swann later, but Gleeson playing for CSK and then playing for RCB, I mean, that is, of course, is what dreams are made of. Vikramaditya saying, hi, guys, hope all's good. MP brothers leading their teams into the start of the IPL with MP coach also coaching. Absolutely up the MP from our perspective. Vasantharan saying, RCB need players who can play spin better. Somewhere many IPL teams don't look at that. Are you worried about RCB's spin frailties? I mean, I know people obviously throw daggers at Virat very quickly. You look at that batting order, Akshay, the top 6 at least what we keep speaking about in office. There are a few good players of spin.
This is definitely better than the last auction cycle because last auction cycle, on paper, we had Faf du Plessis, Virat Kohli, Dinesh Karthik. So Glenn Maxwell was technically our only player of spin before Rajat Patidar really came out of nowhere and took the world by storm. So this time around, we're still better players. Virat Kohli is no longer mug against spin. Last season, he was happy to attack spin when necessary. Jitesh Sharma is there. There's Rajat Patidar. Padikkal is, again, no mug against spin. Krunal Pandya. They all can handle themselves against spin. So it's not going to be just as, apparent as it was last time around कि यार मतलब spin तो इनको डाल दो, इनको 10-15 ओवर spin का डाल दो और 3-4 विकेट तो हमें आसानी से मिल जाएगा. इस बार वो तो नहीं लगता. So I'm hoping that we will be able to perform much better against spin this season.
Okay, fair enough. By the way, there's crazy number of stats on the cricket.com page, and go check that out with regards to everything you like about the game. Remember, we're going to get Graeme Swann on in another 20 minutes or so. So keen your questions. We'll take the best and share it with him. We have him about 20 minutes or so. But before that, we'll also talk about our Champions Trophy predictions, who we think is going to go into the top four. And we'll also maybe even take the best of the rest right now, where we want to talk about the WPL and the Ranji, which is going on, which is absurd too. So let's move on to the best of the rest and then come back to the main chat with Swanny just in a bit. Where is this thing? Play it. Can't find it. Right, let's start with the WPL, guys, because the game's going on right now. We can't not react to it. Technically, RCB top of the table momentarily, and they could go top tonight with another win. Akshay, what gave you so much joy when you saw that chase, the best ever chase in WPL history?
Yeah, the fact that there were two Indians involved in it, Richa Ghosh, Kanika Ahuja, was a fantastic chase. Sure, Richa got her chances. Elise Perry was dropped. Like Gujarat Giants will be ruining their chances, the missed opportunities, the drops, and whatnot. But the fact that they were still able to score what they did, a partnership of 92 runs of 37 balls, is absolutely unheard of in the Indian women's cricket scene. So, given that, special shout out to them. And Kanika Ahuja, the way she batted in particular, hers was a chanceless knock again. We've always been talking about how she is someone who deserves to be given a chance. For Team India as well, left-hander, aggressive batter, can offer value with the ball. Unfortunately, injury wasn't her biggest friend last year. She missed out on the WPL, and later on, she did not really get a chance to make a comeback to Team India. So that knock, I'm hoping, that's a full toss, and yeah. But that hasn't really helped us. Hasn't really helped her. Hopefully, a solid WPL showing here will help us stage a comeback as well. But apart from that, can't not talk about Priya Mishra from yesterday. A fantastic spell, just absolutely mesmerizing. I'm a sucker for leg spinners doing well. And the fact that she had such great control, her flippers, her googlies, she got the three big wickets of Talia Migra, Grace Harris, and Deepti Sharma. So that was fantastic to watch. Really happy to see some of the Indian youngsters doing well. Fielding, of course, has still left a lot of room to desire, but it is a work in progress. So fingers crossed, we will see improvement on that front as well soon.
Yeah, many people already predicting a run chase for RCB again tonight. Sports fans saying the exact same thing. And fielding standard has gone down WPL compared to last season. The first game, RCB GG, I can't believe Perry dropped one. Then Harleen at long on, was it? And
yes.
Some shambolic fielding as well. But I just want to ask all of you are listening to this right now, because the WPL has started, what is that one thing you guys love about the WPL? We'll get all our thoughts about it right now. I can start by saying celebrations and catches. When they're really, really good, they're really, really good. Like, I think the WPL celebrations are maybe better than the IPL celebrations. Sometimes, if you even kind of cast your mind back to last season, Arundhati Reddy got, I think, it was one of the foreign batters out, and she sent her off like it was no tomorrow. And that's what I like about sport generally, the fact that you can have a last laugh as a bowler and all of that. So, next, what's got your eye so far in WPL 2025? And commiserations on UP losing.
Yeah, that's okay. I think they did not set themselves up well. I think I was just chatting on the watch alongs. And firstly, great stuff. Miss being part of it, but can't do much about it. What has caught my eye is definitely Ash Gardner. Very, very, always a fan of her doing well, whether it's with the ball or with the bat. The first game, in fact, I think that is one of the best Gardner knocks that I've seen in a while, and she hadn't been getting those runs, those hits in the WPBL as much. So, and of course, yes, Giant, I completely agree. I hate the impact sub. So that is also a good thing that I like about the WPL, that there is no impact sub there, and there is always opportunities for people to come good in terms of younger options. Now, as Akshay also pointed out, yes, a few franchise don't want to go down the route, and it's perfectly fine. But the fact that even Yoshida gets a bowl now, you see Priya Mishra doing so well. Even yesterday, I felt that UP did a good thing by getting the youngsters up top, because they are batting at the top of the order for the domestic sides. It doesn't make sense for them to coming at the 12th or 13th mark and then expect them to attack. You would rather put that responsibility on the overseas batters. So on that front, I think that is what catches my eye. But what really loads my eye is the catching. I think I would just keep it there. That I think some of the catches that go down are absolutely horrendous. I mean, you cannot drop Richa at 0. Sorry, you cannot drop Richa Ghosh at 0. Not with that catch. See, I'm okay with you not completing a catch like how Mandana did. She created a chance, it did not stick. It's okay. That those kind of stuff happens. But if the ball is coming straight to you, you'll have to. I know it happens everywhere, and that is my problem with catching everywhere. It's not just WPL, but I just feel. See, in my only reason for that rant is also that India has lost a lot of big games because of the catching. And that is to me, it is why it stings even more that we are not getting better on that front and everybody is dropping catches. So it's not just the Indians, but others are also dropping catches.
No, I agree. I generally was going to recount another one with Saika Ishaq and Harmanpreet having a blinder between them. I mean, a shambles one with regards to her calling and then last minute like leaving it. But we love it below that the WPL has, of course, never ceased to amaze. One other fascinating subplot for Delhi the other day in that run chase was Nikki Prasad, the under-19 captain for India. Successful, of course, winning that. And then Karnataka. So proud, even from my perspective. That game, Akshay, was cliffhanger, man. Like if my mom's celebrating downstairs in the living room, watching this saying, oh my God, she's made it. Is she made it? Oh my God, what happened? Can you watch it? And it was about the whole Bales being a controversy there. So what did you feel at the time? You guys did a watch along. Go check Akshay's reaction out at the time as well. But can you just tell me how you kind of feel about that?
So about the run out itself, of course, initial thought was that wo to out tha. In fact, each of the 3 run outs I was adjudged not out seemed out. So it was very bizarre. And later on, when we saw the rules, we got to know that the third umpire was very clearly wrong. But now the rules have retrospectively been changed to sort of, make it very clear this time. Ki, boss, the first frame to be considered is not light, but Bales being dislodged. So it is interesting what's happened over there. But the knock Nikki Prasad again, fantastic to watch a youngster like her not crumble under pressure, just hold on to herself. And special mention to Sarah Bryce as well, an associate player. She's done well today. She did very well that day as well. A very important cameo
Well,
from her, and she's just been dismissed by. Yeah, yeah. Apologies for that. But yeah, Nikki Prasad, fantastic knock. But was she player of the match? Was that performance player of the match worthy? I'm not sure. Yeah, like this is where I feel, yeah, credit where it's due. As a youngster, the fact that she managed to hold on to her wicket for 30 balls was an achievement in and of itself. But was it the greatest of knocks? Was it the greatest knock played that day? I don't think so. Was it the greatest performance that day? Absolutely not. Shefali Verma was there. Shikha Pandey was there. So that's where I think we as commentators, as adjudicators of these awards, they need to understand that, boss, you're setting precedent here. You're right now incentivizing a player and rewarding them for playing a certain kind of an innings. Now, I hope Nikki Prasad doesn't go home with the lesson कि यार मेरे को 30 बॉल में 35 बनाना है और मेरे को प्लेयर ऑफ द मैच मिल गया तो ये अच्छी नॉक है तो मैं ऐसे ही खेलूंगी. I hope she understands that. She's known for her power hitting abilities, at the age group levels. So I hope she doesn't shed that side of her to sort of become an anchor and just go on and play the way she did yesterday. But all in all, again, as a youngster, I don't think we could have expected anything more from her. So extremely happy for her, and fingers crossed she can do much better going forward.
Okay. By the way, lots more comments coming about women's cricket, which we love, and we love it. The fact that we also panded to it in terms of watch along women's cricket podcast and all of that.
Sorry, I just feel Graham will take the second wicket also in this video. Let's see if she takes 2. I've been asking for it since the start of the game.
2 for 24 so far. Let's see.
That's it.
But gone. She's gone. He's called it again, and that was a shot. Oh, it was nearly gone, but the previous ball.
Half track. Not even a half track. That's worse than a half track.
That's hilarious. The previous ball, literally action replay. Nevertheless, Asim Hunt saying, what's the reason for poor catching? Due factor, not acclimatizing to the lights, poor technique, lack of concentration. I think generally it all it all kind of is a combination of all of them. I feel like even if you look at the ones happening in this tournament, we've seen flat catches, loopy ones, straightforward chances. You can't put it down to anything like that because those are always going to be part of any cricket match indeed. Maybe not you all the time. One thing I really want India women's players in the WPL need to work is improving their athleticism, which looks below par. I agree with you. And their range hitting. I feel like range hitting and athleticism, if we take that to the next level, then we can compete with the likes of Australia and England, so on and so forth. Good to great also saying great anticipation reflexes are always the hallmark of a fantastic fielder. In that regard, I feel Litchfield has go both by her side as a fielder. She's in John T's league. I mean, you can name a lot of Aussies to be good fielders, safe pair of hands, athletic as well. Very rare to see Perry drop that one the other day, but we've seen it all, I guess. We've seen Nix's predictions right through tweets, through MNL. We're seeing it also live, seeing Sadhu Shurba. Thank you so much for that. And Asim Hunt saying, Nikki anchored the innings when the team was in strife. Shefali, on the other hand, threw her wicket away. Where the match should be based on the match situation. It's not to encourage slow or fast innings. And I would, Akshay, I know you made your point and he's retaliating you, but Nikki sawed over the line. Is that fair to say?
Sure, but again, was it her knock that helped Delhi alone? Was it her knock alone that ensured Delhi's victory? Absolutely not.
No, but she
And
was the
Asim,
glue in that crunch situation.
But if not for Shefali's innings, Nikki's innings alone could not have really helped. And we're just talking about impact. If you're talking about impact, Shefali had more impact on the game and the result than Nikki did. That's how I would look at it. And Asim, I agree with you that Shefali threw her wicket away, but reducing her knock to just Shefali throwing her wicket away would be a tad bit unfair on her. Come on, she scored so many runs before that. 43 of 18. Usse pehle bhi to banaya tha. Like that's the way she plays. She lives by the sport. She dies by it. We can't sort of be duplicitous about it and complain when she gets out and just praise when she hits well. So we have to understand that.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were done. Because it's a little choppy to my end, Akshay's connection.
It is.
It is, right? Or is it just me?
Yeah, it is a bit. No, it is a bit.
Okay, super. The WPL watch-alongs will continue. They're doing plenty more. I think it's going to be a predominant weekend thing for sure. Another wicket for RCB. Meanwhile, 132 for 9 is DC. And we'll end the WPL chat over there. Let's just quickly talk about Ranji Trophy cricket because the semi-finals are happening right now. And Gujarat v Kerala and Vidarbha versus Mumbai. Now, there's a lot of things to note in this. Jaiswal didn't make it fit for the Mumbai team against Vidarbha, who has people like Karan Nair, so on and so forth. That game's going on in Nagpur. Meanwhile, Gujarat taking on Kerala in Ahmedabad. And 6 Patels in the Ahmedabad squad, the Gujarat squad, which is insane. Insane, right? Have we ever seen a team have so many surnames at the same time? I'm not sure. Maybe India and Sharma's at one point in time, but 6 Patels next. That's crazy, right?
Even if 3 of them come good, I think they'll not mind that. But some very interesting knocks. I think in terms of the Mumbai game, Mumbai is also waiting for the Shardul Magic. Hasn't had a great day today. But again, you never write the lot of because interestingly that you get 300 on the first day. I think it's a good place to be in and well set up again by some impressive knocks up top by Dhruv Sharet and even Malvekar, if I'm getting the pronunciation right, Vishnu played well. So very interested to see how Mumbai come back there. Of course, you'll have the Kerala game where Sachin Baby is among the runs again. So it is very interesting. Again, you'll say RCB is very on. So very good, very interested to see how Sachin goes along because I think it's always been around and whenever you see him play, you feel like, why this? He has something, but then how do you convert that into something more substantial? Hopefully, he'll get those chances and he does that in the future as well.
Yeah, because it's day one, it stumps right now for both the semi-finals. Let's see who makes the final. But it's very rare that we hear Sachin and Azhar at the crease at stumps. But that's the scene for Kerala right now. 206 for 4. Mohammad Azruddin, the Kerala wicketkeeper, of course, and Sachin Baby, like Nick mentioned over there. And plenty of other things to look into in terms of Ranji perspective, because remember, Vidarbha also kind of gunning for a massive heist against Mumbai if they can pull that off. With still has Ajinkya Rahane, Shardul part of the team. Let's move on and just tell you a couple of things before Graeme Swann pops on. I think Nani Kofo is asking us in the comments, when is he coming? In about 10 minutes, mate. We will have Swanny with us. What else to watch this week? Well, we have a lot of cricket, and let's just put it up for you. Zimbabwe Islands going on. That's a fascinating ODI series so far. 1-1 after the second ODI. Then the Champions Trophy starts, and that'll be really something to take note of. Thursday, we will be doing a post-match live. Remember, there won't be WPL games on India days. So essentially, you can get us in the night. That is the Hindi team doing their lives. You look at even Friday, we're planning to do a watch along there, Akshay, for the RCB MI game. Yes, we are.
Yep, we are.
So that is a tasty one as well. And then Sunday, India-Pakistan. Again, that's going to be absolutely chaotic. We're going to be putting out some good, fun content with a couple of guys from Pakistan, banter them and all of that. So watch our space, watch the cricket map in terms of this week, because it is definitely red hot. It's a shame that RCB play on the following Monday as well. Otherwise, they would have probably done a watch along for that. I'm not sure. But we will, of course, get to our Champions Trophy predictions right now, because that's the one thing that we want to just focus on. Or should we go with Akshay's quiz and get that done and dusted?
Predictions khatam karte, then we'll do Howzzaat, and then we can sort of.
Okay, fine. So super. Let's go to Howzzaat, because I think a couple of people won it last time. We'll brief you more right now. Right, Akshay, take it over. How's that last week and who won it?
I feel that at this point in time, Avnish is just sort of mocking our viewers here, because only twice in the history of MNL has he said, yeah, it seems like a few of you got it right. And none of them have gotten it right. Both times he's gone on to say that. Unfortunately, yeah, no one's gotten it right this time around. No winner. But the question, of course, was connect the below exhaustive list and fill in the blanks. Also, identify what separates the highlighted blank from the rest. Of course, my editor had forgotten to highlight the blank, but I didn't mention that the fourth blank, the blank between Heather Graham and Laura Wolfart, was the blank I was referring to. And of course, the list was, a list of all the replacements that have been made in the history of WPL. And the players were, the missing names were, of course, Chamari Attapattu, there was Kim Garth, and I'm forgetting who the other name was, the third player was. But what separated
Henry.
Kim Garth for the rest? I'm sorry?
Henry, right?
Yeah, Chinel Henry. Thank you so much. So much. And what separated Kim Garth from the rest? Again, guys, there are a lot of things separating Kim Garth. A lot of you mentioned that she's the only one to have played for two countries, Australia and Ireland. Sure, that is also right. If we start counting it that way, so birthday bhi aa jayega, sab aa jayega. But it was in connection with this list what made her unique. Kim Garth is the only player in the history of the WPL to have been signed as a replacement player twice. Baki sab ek hi baar hue. Kim Garth, when she played for Gujarat Giants the first time, was also a replacement player. She came in back then as a replacement player for Deandra Doughton. This time around, of course, she came in as a replacement for Kate Cross. Yeah, the other name was Ria Tahuhu, not Chinel Henry. Chinel Henry's replacement hadn't been announced last time had come out. So till then, there had been only 7 international players who had been signed as replacements. So these were the 7 names. Thank you, Tushar Singh, for confirming it. And like I said earlier, a lot of you got the other things right, but this was the most important part. None of you got the connect right. Like I said, of course, Australia, Ireland, she's the only one to play for 2 countries. That point is valid, but we were looking for something that's connecting this, which is why I specified last time as well. With respect to this list, what separates that one player from the rest? So, like I said, the only player in the history of the WPL to have been signed as a replacement player twice. So that was that from last week's Howzzaat. Coming to this week's Howzzaat though, and where, oh my God, do we have a lot of graphics? Kahan pe bhai? Yeah, finally. There we go. Very simple, थोड़ा graphical रखा है हमने इस बार. Chart है, आपको बस बताना है ये chart है किस चीज का. So you see CSK, KKR, MI, RCB, SRH, DC, GT, RPSG, and there's a number associated with it. So fairly simple yet again. You guys need to ID the below chart. So that's it from this week's Howzzaat. And like always, please wait for the live stream to end to key in your answers. Do not enter your answers in the live chat. You're only going to help your fellow viewers. Wait for the live stream to end. Enter your answers in the main comment section in order to stay eligible to win yourself a cool 500 rupee Amazon voucher from us.
Indeed, brilliant little quiz there. I think the first time he's used graphs in Howzzaat history. So that's something to just take note of as well. Meanwhile, we are going to get Graeme Swann on in just a bit, but Nikhil has something to say. Nikhil, what's up?
No, I'm just putting something in the private chat as the answer. If that is right, then I should get a one voucher.
Okay, fine. Let's see. I mean, I don't know. Akshay, are you going to be kind with us and tell us the answers right now?
Why would I tell the answer right now?
Private chat.
I can confirm him privately whether he's right or not.
As I sent the message.
Easy one after tough one last week, saying noodle hacks. And let's see how that goes. But that was Howzzaat. Let's move on and, of course, get to our Champions Trophy predictions before we get Swannies and all of that stuff. By the way, the Champions Trophy schedule is out. Remember, go check it out. 19th Feb to March 9th. It's going to be chaotic. And we'll be doing a lot of content around it. So do not forget that. Right, Champions Trophy predictions, guys. And this is what Monday Night Live thinks is going to happen in the 8-team tournament. Now, we all decided that we're going to give our picks for most runs, most wickets, top 4, and, of course, the winner at it all. So let's start with Nix. Nix, who have you gone for and why?
Well, very straightforward form-led picks there. I expect India to start as favorites, and if they don't win, then I think it will be, to put it so much is word, a failure that way. Most runs again, Shubman Gill, good to concur there with Akshay for a change. I think in absolute prime form, he's doing really well. Unless he gets a few parlas, I think he should top those run charts. Most wickets, I feel it's a very important series for Kuldeep Yadav with Varun suddenly breathing now his neck for no reason at all. In this format, T20 is different battle. ODI, I feel Kuldeep has done enough to have that longer backing, so which is why I've gone. And I feel that because people will be cautious up start, plenty of games will be decided in the middle overs. That's where I feel Kuldeep will come into his own. So that is that. The top 4 one is, I feel, fairly obvious that we expect India and South Africa to find a way. I think Australia will scrape through. They have enough match winners who can turn the game around on their very given day. It's only between New Zealand and Pakistan, and I feel the recent form of New Zealand probably pips them. And again, we're all too burnt by New Zealand in ICC knockouts, so I'm not going to rule them out.
Okay, fair enough. We're going to get Graeme Swann on in just a bit, but let's just, of course, allude to our predictions I've shared really quickly. Virat is the most runs for me, not, of course, being biased by any stretch of the imagination. Arshdeep, I think he should start and will take a lot of wickets. I've gone for Pakistan to make the semis with India out of that Group A purely because I think it'll be just good as a host team to progress. It's always good for a competition to see just any host do well. And then South Africa and England. I don't think Australia are going to go through. And I think Afghanistan, they might just fall flat. And eventually India to win it. Akshay, meanwhile, has gone for bizarre picks. South Africa and Afghanistan to qualify. Kagiso Rabada most wickets. And Shubman Gill as your most runs. Are you having a laugh?
I'm right now having a laugh with the coincidence that Avnish chose to show this graphic right when Swanny joins in, and then conveniently has England as part of the top 4. So I have a lot of questions to ask you, Mr. Avnish Hegde. Was that just a coincidence that somehow England pops up in your top 4 right when Swanny's also lurking out there just watching the graphic?
I mean, I generally think England can get out of that group. I think they'll beat Australia. And then once they have to beat Afghanistan, they beat Afghanistan. The ghost of 2023 won't come to haunt them. I'm not just flattering Swan, or I'm not being colonially hungover here, but I generally think England can get over the line. Right. Those are our predictions. But right now, it is, of course, Graeme Swann joining us on the Monday Night Live pod. And let's get him on right now because we've had enough. And we'll see the familiar face, the spin legend. Swanny, how are you? And it's good to see you. And it's also good to note that your football team's actually doing better than the cricket team right now. And he's on mute too.
Nice.
Swanny's done in amnesia. No worries.
He's done in Avnish.
We still can't hear it.
We still can't hear you. You got to unmute yourself, Graeme Swann. There we go. I think technology. Yes, we should get you now. You guys, can you hear him? I'm so sorry, Swanny. I'm so sorry. Is it just me or we can't hear you?
I'm talking.
Honestly,
I'm not
we'll see if we
muted.
can just get him on again. Yeah, now it's better.
Yeah, how about now?
Perfect. Welcome
Perfect.
to M&L, Swanny.
Sorry.
Right, hello.
Start
Sorry.
everything.
You know me. You know I'm terrible with computers and everything about it. If you hear a lot of noise, there's a guy having a tree cut down outside my house. I can do nothing about it. I apologise. But I do have my Newcastle flag up, my Newcastle scarf up, just to keep everything, above kosher and above board.
That's okay. Just first thoughts, Graeme Swann, about the Champions Trophy. How excited are you with this tournament? I mean, it's a forgotten tournament. That's what people are calling it. And just first impressions, Swanny?
It is a bit of a forgotten tournament. As a player, it was never as high profile as a World T20 or a World Cup. And yet that's strange because it's a chance to win an ICC trophy. So I think it's got better. I think they've tried to make it more high profile over the years, not always worked. But I think right now it's a very good trophy for some of these teams like England, teams like South Africa, to actually get in and win one of these trophies to springboard themselves to go then and win a World Cup.
Yeah, I mean, I'll let the boys jump in with a couple of questions in a bit, but my first thoughts about England, I mean, you just saw there, I put them in my semi-finals. Where do you have them? And what are your predictions for this year's Champions Trophy?
Right, so I'm going to go completely against the grain. You've all just seen a bit of a sorry performance score-wise from England in India. I know this. I was there. I had to commentate. I had to put up with all the other commentators asking, is this the worst England team ever? What is wrong with this England team? I think we've got you just where we want you, India. I honestly think, and I'm not just saying this because, well, I probably am just saying this because I'm an England man. I think England might win this Champions Trophy. And people will laugh and people will say I'm a fool. But they've got these 3 games out of the way. They've got the experience of playing in India. We never win in India. We've always struggled there. But in Pakistan, it is a different kettle of fish. People often, from my part of the world, think that India and Pakistan are exactly the same. The pitch is the same. They're not. They're much flatter. They don't spin in Pakistan. Much easier to bat on. Our bats come unstuck against the Indian spinners in India. Nowhere else in the world. So I think England could and will win this tournament. How about that?
Okay, interesting. What about most runs and most wickets then?
Yeah, most runs, Joe Root. This is going to be a very English-centric piece from me because I feel like I fiercely have to defend my boys, my team. I think Joe Root will take the most wicket. Will score the most runs. I think wicket-wise, I saw that one of you had Kuldeep down for most wickets, and I like that. I'm going to go with Kuldeep as well. I think he is one of my favourite spinners in world cricket. One of my favourite bowlers. I love his attitude. He played that one game in the 50-over series and then got left out of the last one. I thought that was a bit harsh. I think Kuldeep will get in the team and he'll have a stunning tournament.
Okay, let's see how that peters out for India, remember. Akshay, next, what do you have for Swanny today? I have one about Adil Rashid, but I'll save that later on. Akshay, you can go first, and then we can take some from the chat too.
I do have a question, but it's not related to Champions Trophy. I'll let Nikhil bhai slide that because not the biggest fan of ODI cricket. Champions Trophy, I'll still have to say, is not the most popular tournaments out there. But there is another tournament that's been under the scanner the last couple of weeks, the 100. We've seen so many IPL owners sort of making the move there. But firstly, Swanny, what I wanted to understand from you about the 100 was, how is it as a tournament? First of all, what are your thoughts on it, and what's the reception been like, back home in England about it?
Yeah, so the reception for the 100, at first it was seen as like needless. We don't need to do this. It's stupid. It can't take on T20 cricket. Just trust me on this. It is better than T20 cricket. It's a better product. It's better to watch. It's better, and And I'm saying when I say it's better to watch, not from our point of view, because we've grown up with longer form of cricket and we've gradually gone down. It is better for the new generation of all cricket fans to watch. So kids, basically, the future. And you'll laugh at this. I've got 3 kids who now get bored at T20 cricket. I take them to the Blast in England. They watch IPL. They get bored. It's too slow. 2020 cricket, believe it or not, is too slow for the modern generation. 100 cricket, it's shorter. There aren't as many changes. It's very simple to follow. I think you're going to be blown away by it. And people are mocking it and saying, oh, it will soon get changed to 20 over cricket in England. It won't. And once you see it and once they realise that the kids coming through are absolutely addicted to this 100 format and not 2020 cricket, it blew me away. I only know this because I've got 3 kids of my own and I'm involved in the trophy. I go and watch 2020 cricket now and cannot believe how cumbersome it seems compared to the 100. So people, I mean, it's not got a big following outside of England, of course, but it will have. It's massive. It's brilliant.
And just one more question. Now, do you think with the IPL owners and, all the likes of NMI and LSG and all of these folks coming in, do you think that'll actually now help the 100 go a lot more global than before?
Well, yeah, it will. When you think, like, you look at the South African one, that's taken off. That's got a lot bigger. Yeah, it will. I mean, that's the whole point of it with the ECB and attracting more money in. And it's attracted a hell of a lot of money in quickly. And a lot of investors have realised because of the IPL how attractive franchise ownership is and how much money you can make from it. The fact that it's not all Indian ownership, I think, is good for English cricket because I think it's a little bit dangerous if it just ends up being world cricket dominated by the franchise owners of the IPL, because then it would push all international cricket to the side and it would be controlled by people who may not have the best interests of world cricket. But which is natural if you've got a franchise. So I think the fact they've got American owners in, I'd like to see a few British entrepreneurs get in there with a bit of cash and buy a few teams, but it's not worked for Man United, so it might not work for the Trent Rockets. But yeah, I think it's good. I think I love the fact that franchise cricket has taken off and has sort of injected new fans and more money into world cricket. But I think it is healthy that it's not all owned by the same sort of 6 people. Every bit of cricket around the world. That's that noise. If you can hear it, the tree's getting cut down again.
Thank you so much, Swanny. Cheers.
A fantastic insight about the 100 and how it's going to peter out, like we just said. But Nikhil, what do you have? I mean, is it Champions Trophy centric or is it something random for Swanny this afternoon?
No, it is Champions Trophy centric, but more on the 50-over format, the format that I love so much. First, it's great to share the space with you. One question that I think a lot of us keep hearing this noise or these words that whenever somebody is not doing well, the first thing that everybody says is go back to domestic cricket, play this format, get better and come back. Now, we've seen so many greats in the recent past. Now, Joe Root hasn't had a good time in ODI cricket. He's had last time he averaged about 40 was 2019. How do you deal with a situation like that if you are, say, a coach or something that you've seen a player, his quality, there is no doubt, there is class, no doubt. But then how does the guy like Joe Root come back to dominate cricket, to white ball, at least the white ball cricket, ODI format, because he is central to England coming good?
Yeah. I'll tell you what it is, it's a mental thing. International cricket, and I realised this most when I finished playing and realised how strong mentally I'd been without realising it, and how some players who had way more talent than me hadn't made it as far because they were weak mentally. And if you get into a rough patch, and which everyone does, it's natural. Bad luck can go against you. Umpiring decisions can go against you. La-di-da. If you get a bit down on your luck and then start questioning yourself and not being mentally strong and believing you can come back, that's when bad form starts to eke out over a couple of years. That's when you get dropped. That's when you become unheard of. If you look at all the greats, these are people who their bad form is 1 or 2 games and they can really buckle down and go, right, absolutely not. I don't accept this. I am the greatest player in the world. I will bounce back. Joe Root's done that. He had a bit of a rough time and he was left out because the team seemed to be moving in a different direction. He almost reinvented himself, plays in the 100, plays in 2020 cricket and really upped the ante with his batting and started scoring quicker. As a result, he now sees people from the outside going, hang on a minute. The England team aren't doing well. We need some stability. We need an old-fashioned player. We've got Joe Root, who is that kind of old-fashioned player, but also now scores a strike rate of 130. get him in, and he's back in. It's very hard to do. The world's best are the most mentally strong players. I'm sure of that. I don't know anyone who's ever got to the top echelons and stayed there for a while who doesn't firmly believe deep down. They won't all say it out loud, but don't firmly believe in their own abilities to ride the storm of a bad trot.
Okay, interesting. And let's see how it's going to take over this Champions Trophy, whether it really is a great advertisement for the 50-over format. Only time will tell. Freaking awesome saying, only India and England haven't lost any ODIs in Dubai. England had won 3 out of 3, all against Pakistan. England is the only side that have scored 350 plus in Dubai and ODIs. Swanny played there in 2012. Thank you for that stat. There's many questions coming your way. One from our in-house writer, Akash, going on to ask you about Harry Brooks' game against spin. He struggled against India, against Varun Company. How do you view him now going into this Champions Trophy, Swanny?
You know what? I know Brooks, Harry, and I know how good a player he is against spin. But playing against spin in India is a different proposition to anywhere in the world. Like I said, Pakistan and India are very, very different cricket-wise. The pitches, very, very, very different. They're so flat in Pakistan. They're like roads, most of them. You don't get the slowness and the turn. And let's face it, when you go to India to play ODI cricket, you play against spinners who are some of the best spinners in the world in their home conditions. Like Jadeja in that 50-over series was a joke in those 2 games. He never missed the spot he wanted to bowl at, and he's able to skip it on, he's able to turn it. He doesn't look like anything spectacular when he bowls, and yet he is metronomically brilliant. It's very, very hard to go to India as an Englishman because you then have this weight of, England aren't good players to spin, they're going to struggle. I think within the next few years of playing more IPL and going on tour he will completely break the shackles and just start whacking it like he could and like he should, I think, in India. And I think he'll end up being one of the best we've ever played, best from our country to go to India. You look at, say, KP was a brilliant player of spin for the most part, and yet could not play Yuvraj Singh. It's like he had a blindfold on when Yuvi was bowling at him, and he could never work it out. It's very hard. And not because Yuvi, even though he called him a part-time bowler or whatever, all Yuvi did was be deadly accurate. He put it on the spot every ball. The odd one would turn, the odd one goes on. And he was very good at doing that. Had he tried to do that in England, KP would have whacked him. And I think Brooksy is exactly the same. I think it's a mental thing. And I think as soon as he decides, right, you know what, enough of this, I'm just going to watch the ball and whack the ball, I think that will come with time.
It will. Plenty of questions are coming in with time, and we'll try to, of course, limit them in the interest of time as well. But there's one from Aish Kumar, who, of course, just talks about the blueprint. Now, this, of course, on the back of McCullum taking over the white ball squads, it wasn't really baptism by fire by any stretch of the imagination. But how important is this tournament, not just for Baz, but even Joss? And how could they, of course, go on to do what they're doing in Test cricket in the ODI scheme of things?
Yeah. Right, this Bazball stuff, I'm going to put this to bed. It's nonsense. It's not. Bazball is never a thing that England have come up with. This was coined by someone in the press. It's not like they go in and say, right, we're going to do this now. If anything, England in these 3 ODIs were not producing what is called Bazball. They weren't being ultra positive at all times with the bat. And I think that cost them. And so, yes, if they're going to get back to winning ODI tournaments, like the World Cup in 2019, we were the most dynamic and most exciting team in that tournament. We took the most aggressive route whenever possible. I think England maybe have just pulled back a little bit over the years. I think they've got a little bit conservative compared to how they were under Owen Morgan. And I think I don't see any reason why Joss Buttler can't be the same leader Owen Morgan was and say, right, no, we get back to doing what we did under Morgs. They're very good friends. They talk all the time. And so I think, if anything, they need to double down and just go harder on this positive approach. I'm not going to say Bazball because I hate the term. And I hate the fact that people throw it at us as English players and English commentary and coaches as if we've come up with it. It's nonsense. That's mainly aimed at Australia.
I knew that would be a dig thrown at the Aussies for sure. Freaking awesome. Also saying, what a coincidence. I said Swanny played in ODI in Dubai in 2012. It was on 18th of Feb, and today is the 17th. Look, all those years later, 13 years later, he's with us. One side question coming in from Mohammad Arhan, and I don't know how much you're keeping an eye on this because there are plenty of English women's cricketers playing their trade in the WPL. What are your thoughts on this tournament? I mean, generally great for the women's game.
Yeah, it is great for the women's game, and it's been growing, hasn't it? I think it's amazing how quickly it's grown. The big thing in women's cricket in England has been the Ashes over the last month. I don't know if you've seen, but there's been a massive backlash because of how bad England were during the Ashes, and they got absolutely hammered. Our girls went fully professional a few years ago and get paid a lot of money now on the back of doing badly against Australia and saying, look, we need to be full-time so we can then train and be good enough to compete against Australia. And it didn't happen. If anything, they were worse. And so there's been a big backlash against the England women's team. They also fell out with the former player Alex Hartley in the media because she said they weren't fit enough and they didn't take that well. The coach said there was issues because we don't have an outdoor culture in England. We were a bit of a laughing stock. Well, I was in Australia with the England Lions. And like the way the Australians were viewing the women's team was a bit of a laughing stock. And so there's a backlash against the England women at the minute. And so that's made this WPL really interesting to watch because a lot of our big players go and play in it. And I think that's put a lot more spotlight on it. I will admit, I've not been following it since I've only just got home from India and it's my son's birthday today. So I'm not watching it yet. I will get into it. But yeah, I think it's good. It's good for the women's game and it's good to grow it because we also have during the 100 in the summer in England, the women's games run concurrently. So we have, and this is a brilliant format. This is what could easily happen. This is why 100 works. The women will play before the men. So you get a full house of mainly people there to follow the women's cricket, but then you then get a crossover into the men's game afterwards. And like the field is cleared, an hour goes, and then you play another game. It's brilliant. It works. And so because of that, that has grown the women's game in England as well. So it's only a good thing. And as long as Rajasthan got a team and Rajasthan win it, I'm happy.
Yeah, there's plenty of questions coming in, but we can't take all of them. But we will let Swanny go right now. But good luck, Swanny, with everything. Even Newcastle, I think, coming up against Nottingham Forest later on. Hopefully, on Sunday, they get the points against what's been a promising Nottingham, to be fair.
Well, I tell you what, I live in Nottingham and all my mates are Forest fans. And so when Newcastle pumped Forest at the City Ground 3-1, that was my favourite day of the season. And we're going to do exactly the same this weekend. If you're listening, Forest fans, I'm so sorry. Happy the lads, all the way.
Okay, good luck. And thank you so much, Graeme Swann, for making your presence felt on the MNL and cricket.com platform once again. We'll leave it there with Swanny. And thank you so much for all your questions as well, guys. Deeply, deeply appreciated. Thanks, Swanny. We'll see you soon.
No worries.
Thanks, Swanny.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Perfect. I mean, it's always good to get legends on board. And that man, of course, no mug with the bat or ball for England for many, many years. Apologies, Asim Hans, Pratham Yadav, good to great, Crick Info, Introspect. All of y'all had stellar questions, but there's only a few minutes we can get with these legend cricketers because otherwise they'll just start being like, oh, bro, you got to charge and all that stuff. So I'm just like, look, we'll try to take as many as we can. But he spoke about various host of things over there. I like the 100 chat as well, which I think we can just close on, react a little bit to this game and then finish off the MNL pod. With the 100 and now IPL owners there, Nick, is it now just going to be pretty much like that? SA20 100, all the IPL owners are just going to have a piece of the pie in other T20 franchises.
Yeah, I think it's a very interesting case study, to be very honest, that when South Africa did this and it is worked, you can sense that, okay, there is a pattern developing that people want IPL franchises as investors and it will help run the system better. What I think it will also do is, I feel positively that it will get and tap into a newer market in terms of newer fans. Because what I feel is, if I go down the road and tell somebody Birmingham Phoenix, do they care? Maybe not. I'll tell them Oval Invincibles have defended the title. Do they care? No. But I'll tell them, Mumbai Indians, MI Invincibles, they have defended the title. Automatically, there is a recollection that, oh, really? Let me just check it out. So I think I take it in that sense that, yes, eventually a friend of the channel, Akhil Nair, made a very interesting point that we are coming to a time where we are now starting to support businesses over teams. So we are starting to say that we are starting to support a Reliance Group because they have a league, they have a team in every league that is there. So it is an interesting time, but let's wait on the 100. I think South Africa also took a season. The 100 has had its own challenges with the system and within the system more than outside, because again, the county has been compromised, the blast has been compromised, and so many things have happened. So I think for the 100 to come good, it'll take a lot of factors. Let's see whether it happens or not.
Yeah, it's just only a matter of time that Saudi get into the game. I think I saw a little podcast of Jared with David Lloyd speaking about how they can infuse money as well. They already have been doing that with the title sponsors and so on and so forth. Meanwhile, RCB are chasing tonight. Hopefully, they can make it two in the trot, at least my perspective. But Delhi Capitals, again, one of the franchisees who has a lot of sister franchisees, Dubai Capitals, the Seattle Orcas, and it's growing the game, like Nick said. So the 100 with all the recent investment, go check that out. I think there's an article on it, and it just makes you think about how the game is going to grow from year to year, from literally decade to decade, and so on and so forth. Giant J saying, unless Saudi enters, IPL owners will always have dominant hand in the game. Money plays a big role in the game. Absolutely. Saudi could just very well come in and do what they did with Live Golf, and they do exactly that with cricket. Just throw enormous sums of money that they literally make you a godfather sort of offer, an offer too good to refuse. And cricketers haven't seen that kind of money, like how golfers did at that point in time. Priyeshu has been saying this throughout. Mike Hessen, sir, started his YouTube channel by the name Coach Hessen. He was the one behind RCB's strong WPL core and consistency RCB showed during his reign. Show some love. I mean, I don't know if you're part of his PR team, Priyeshu, but yes, we will go check it out. Show us some love, like this video, and subscribe if you guys are new. Shikha Pandey going mad in terms of an appeal, but not getting her wicket of Danny Watt. You should have let the viewers to pose more questions to Swanny, as you got all access to him in most platforms. We hardly get these chances yet. Apologies, man. I swear. I mean, generally wanted to curtail the chat. It's not like you can just call him on and get the chat. But Akshay had one question too many.
अरे एक ही पूछा.
All we are saying is we don't have access. Is this guy?
हाँ, एक तो भाई हम निखिल बार हम भी ऐसा नहीं कि रोज स्वानी के साथ बैठ के बियर पी रहे भाई. हमें भी we are just like you. The only difference is हमारे सामने माइक है, आपके सामने माइक नहीं है बस. बाकी हम मतलब ऐसा नहीं कि रोज रोज हम स्वानी से बात कर पाते हैं. We are just as big a fan of them as you are, but apologies, we'll definitely try and be a bit more mindful of this.
Sorry, man. Good to great. And good to great. You've been great, honestly, because ever since you've discovered MNL, you've been coming here and giving your thoughts about various things. I should have actually featured Good to Great's question now that I think about it, because he's a dedicated guy in the chat. So look, the next time the guest pops on, I'll definitely have that for you. PR team reminds me of Rahane comment. Yeah, he said cricket is my PR. Hilarious. Aju doing Aju things. Freaking awesome.
जो freaking awesome के videos BGT के पहले BGT के बाद में डालता है वो सब क्या भूल गए क्या ये?
See, I'll just say one thing. He's always good with his timing.
He's always good for this planning. Remember, we've not even taken the 12th man segment right now. We'll take it right now and end proceedings. And then we can all, of course, have a good dinner. I still need to shoot some more content otherwise. But look, first up, it's you guys and questions that we missed at the start of the show. Right, lots of questions whizzed by, and we'll get to them right now. Sanjay Papigiri asking, thoughts on MI replacing Gazanfar with Mujib, given they've already had two power play bowlers in Hardik. Adil Rashid could have been a better choice, I felt, for middle overs. Thoughts on MI post injuries. Next, you want to take this?
Yeah, I found it very, very interesting that they replaced Gazanfar with Mujib. Yes, maybe Mujib has had a second wing of sorts, maybe with the Pal Royals at the SA20, but I don't think, to me, Gazanfar was the biggest X factor because very few had seen him, very few had played him. Now, Mujib, everybody's played and seen him enough, so I don't know how much of it will actually come into play. I would have loved to see Adil Rashid, and again, Adil Rashid is also not someone who you think will lose control. He's probably bowling at his best, so I think it is probably an opportunity missed. I hope somebody else can pick up Adil because I'm not quite sure. See, Mujib could go on and take 20 wickets for all we care, but on paper, at least, it doesn't feel that it has the X factor that it doesn't for that. But let's see. Stranger things have happened.
And Mujib has a nightmare in the Wankhede, obviously dropping
I am
Maxwell's
not.
guy.
Let's change next question.
Next question from Muglu or Muglu or however you pronounce it. Muglu is what I'll stick with. Akshay, take this one. How many pace all-rounders are too many pace all-rounders?
I'm guessing this is in reference to Delhi Capitals because they have Minu Mani batting at number 11, who just 2 months ago was the highest run scorer in one of the ODIs that India played in Australia. So, I mean, yeah, I don't think there's any number to it, bro. It just depends if you have the options. Why not? Australia has been fielding 11 all-rounders or rather 10 all-rounders and a wicket-keeper for God knows how long. So that's how things work in women's cricket. And this is me speaking about this with absolutely no context. Like, I have no clue in what context is Maglu, asking us this question. I'm just assuming it's around women's cricket and I'm answering it. But yeah, I mean, why? I don't think I'll ever have a problem of plenty with all-rounders. Agar hai to badhiya hai na, boss. You'll have more flexibility. You'll have more options with both the bat and ball.
Okay, interesting. Mandana facing another off-spinner, Minumani, early on. I mean, it's unbelievable. Speaking of spin, there's a question for spin. Akshay, take another one, and then I'll give Nikhil another one after this. Patidar equals Shivam in spin? Question mark. Who's the best spin basher right now in India? Is it Shreyas
Spin
Iyer?
basher ka pata nahi, but again, at the risk of sounding very biased, I genuinely think Patidar is better than Shivam, only for the reason that Patidar has better footwork. You can agree to disagree, but Patidar has he's shown better glimpses of footwork than Shivam. Shivam is more of a person who uses his long levers, who uses his reach to get to the pitch of the ball. Patidar, on the other hand, has that ability to get to the pitch of the ball and play. And I feel technically that's a lot. You are in much better place when you use your feet as well along with your hands. So that's just my 2 cents on it. I might be way off. There might be a lot of bias also there clouding my judgment. But yeah, that's how I feel about it.
Okay, fair enough. More comments to take right now. Santosh Shukla saying, wasn't Swann picked his fans' fave from the list of cricketers that came on an ML podcast last year? He was. I like that. You remember that. Wouldn't utility players like Sam Curran be better options compared to Atkinson or Cass? Nix, where do you stand in this?
Wouldn't utility players like Sam Curran? Again, it depends on what you want from your entire setup, no? Sorry, I was looking up numbers for Rajat and Shivam against bowlers, not leg spinners. But okay, I will save that for later. See, you can have both in your setup. And again, to both, I mean Sam and Cass. I don't think Atkinson quite qualifies. In terms of this format, Atkinson, great test bowler, not quite sure of the white ball format. With Sam also, you have to be very sure if you're going to give him that spot. We discussed in the MLR only, if I'm not wrong, where whenever Sam has been batting in the top 4 or top 5, he's had a far better return as compared to later because entry point and everything is taken care of. So, and utility players say, Brandon Cass, to me, has the potential to become what, again, I won't say Ben Stokes, but there is a lot of potential is what I feel with Cass, that he can come in and hit a few sixes and bowl a 4-over spell and change the game around. So, I would actually add Cass to the utility option. And it, again, depends entirely on the setup and who do you prefer. So, it's not a straightforward answer in that sense.
Fair. I mean, England will just, of course, they think about a lot of things apart from just England. Meanwhile, there are, of course, clamors going around in terms of RCB potentially doing 2 chases tonight. Sports fans saying, what is next in the radar of these IPL franchises? Buy more franchises, more Indian players' participation in the overseas leagues. Just want to know their long-term vision. I mean, the way I look at it, I think the more they're trying to get into every sort of T20 league, the better. And then eventually the tide will turn. Yeah, the fact that the overseas players will be Indians after a point in time because it'll have to kind of grow the game that way. That's my opinion. Mohammad Arhan asking RCB 1. What are your thoughts on DD playing this season? Parikal, that is. Should Kohli drop to 3 to accommodate him? With Bethel injured, I see him playing at 3, to be honest. I mean, I see Parikal playing at 3, but with a clear message from Andy Flower. I don't know what the message is, but if they want to play a lefty there, they can, of course, use Krunal as a floater. There's no Bethel, of course. I would see Parikal get 4, 5, 6 games, bro, Akshay, to be honest with you. So Do you see Padikkal starting in your 11?
Yeah, I guess now Padikkal in all likelihood will start for them at the very least. उसके बाद वो देखेंगे कि who do they continue with or not. But Padikkal, given Bethel's injury, unless they come up with a fantastic name as a replacement signing, I'm expecting Padikkal to start for them.
Okay. Finally, tough question from freaking awesome, and I'll give it to Nikhil. Do you think Temba Bavuma will hit his first overseas ton in the Champions Trophy?
Yeah, he will. Don't worry. He will. He'll do it.
He will. Hopefully, he will. Since RCB are playing in Chepauk so early, kind of advantage, the pitches won't offer much of spin. I mean, generally, it's a mental thing going to Chepauk. I mean, to be fair for RCB, they've never won there since, what, 2008? 9?
Yeah, we played the tournament opener last year, bro. उससे ज़्यादा जल्दी तो हम खेल नहीं सकते अभी ना, युवराजा. So we played the tournament opener and lost it. So I don't think, I agree with Abhish, I don't think it just surfaces anymore. It's more of a mental thing where they have to just get over it.
Okay, interesting. Guys, thank you so much for your time. All of you all, including Akshay and Nikhil, for their time in terms of this MNL episode 67. We had Graeme Swann join us for a bit. Go check that out. All the time codes will be put by the producer. Later this week, we have more Champions Trophy related stuff. I've done a live, basically a recorded show with a Pakistan journalist, a Bangladesh fan, and a New Zealand fan all at the same time to preview Group A. Group B, similar with Mel Farrell. We got, who was it? An English cricket fan. We got Shubh Agarwal, and then we were doing the Afghanistan review through myself as well. So go check all of that out. It's going to drop on cricket.com very shortly. But before we leave, like this particular video, guys, because it really, really is important for us going into such an amazing season of cricket that we get likes in terms of the MNL and even the watch-alongs and every other property as well. Wednesday, we'll have Akshay's women's podcast, so that'll be a fixture as well. And who knows if RCB will make it 2-2. If you guys think they could, like this video. If you think they'll lose, subscribe. Thanks for watching. Bye from us.
Cheers.
Avnish bro, I'll not spare you.